once your image is ready and it's cropped and it's centered and you have just a really good picture that's full on and looking forward at you as best as you could find, then you're going to be using a couple tools. So the main ones you're going to be using is either the polyline tool or the curve tool. And I'm going to show you both of them. As I showed you before on this example, essentially you're just going to be looking at the main things. So, the eyes, the pupils, the nostrils, the shape of the head, and picking those and tracing around those. But you also want to pay attention to the darker shades of color. So you can add in those details so it's not just all one blanket color and it just gives it a little more dimension. You can get as intense with this as you want, especially if you have an animal like, with spots or a pattern on it that's a little more complicated. That one will have a lot more detail in it. This one's pretty simple. There's stuff that I would go back and change already, but I'm just going to show you how to begin doing this process. So, well, I like the curve tool, but I'll show you the polyline tool. Basically, you're going to be tracing around shapes on top of the picture. So I always like to zoom in to 200, just so I'm really close and can see. And I'm going to show you the nose. So if I'm doing the nose and I have the polyline tool, it's more like harsh edges, whereas the curve tool is going to have more rounded. So if I just start tracing around this, notice that it is angled. So these lines right there are angled. Make sure you take your time when you're doing this. You could do it a lot closer. You can do it farther away, but you want to go back and connect the dots because you want to close that shape. And it just fills it up just with a plain color, and you can make it transparent. But I don't like this one because it's such sharp edges. So if I just hit the delete button, I actually like the curve tool because I think it looks more realistic. So it just kind of depends on what animal you're picking. So maybe play around with both. But I'm going to take my time now with the curve tool and start going around the nose. The more, like I said, the closer you click, you can get a lot more detailed versus like doing it very spread out. So you just kind of have to practice and get the hang of it to see what works best for you. But you can also edit them. So see, it fills that up. So I'm going to go to transparent and change that color. But if I notice, I don't really like how that dips right there and I want it to go up a little higher, I can click on this select tool and it lets me, move this. And the best part about drawing digitally is you can always hit the undo button. So I just moved it and then I just hit Control Z and I undid it. So that's going to become your best friend during this process. But if you double click on it, it shows you all these little tools where you clicked. So you can actually move those. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do the nostrils and kind of this line right here just to show you the idea of it. This one also, I think I kind of want to move in a little bit. Eventually we'll be filling this in with color, but I just want to show you first how we're doing the shape. So I'm going to go back to the curve tool and I'm going to go around this whole circle first. And it's not going to be exact. I'm going to go to transparent and then I'm going to do this shape inside of here as well because I see that dark kind of shape. And then I always go line my lines back up if they're overlapping with one another, kind of like how that inside of the nostril was with this circle shape and transparent. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here. So I'm on the curve tool. Oops. And I'm going to go around it. Transparent. And then I'm going to do the inside part. And I try to stick close to the lines that are already there. Transparent. So now if I zoom out, and if I were just to show you, if I delete this, you can see I've created the nose. And I'm just going to go up here and hit the undo or Control Z to bring that back. I personally go through and I do all of it first, but I'm not going to do that on this video. And then I go back in and I add color. But if you want to see now how to add color, I'll just show you it for the nose. So for adding color, I'm just going to click the select tool. And again, I like to zoom in just to see it really well. And this one and this one. And you can shift, if you hit shift, you can select multiple things at once, or you can just do them one at a time. And so when I'm actually doing my final one, I don't want a border color on it. So I make that transparent. And then I'm going to fill this in just to be black. And same with this one. Then the colors you start to pick, it starts to get a little complicated depending on the color you're picking, because these are the options that they give you, but you're able to make your own color. So let's say I wanted to do, for this inside of the nose part, I wanted to do kind of like a pinkish color, pinkish brown, but I didn't like that. I can hit, if it's selected, I can go to custom and I can change that. So if I want to make it a little bit darker, I can change it to be a little bit darker. Maybe I like that color better. And then that will show up down here. So I'm going to click this guy. Oh, I forgot to take off my border. Transparent. Take off my border. Transparent. And I'm going to fill it with that same color. Then for my nose, I want it to be a little bit darker. So I'm going to add in, I'm going to click on my nose. I'm going to get rid of that color in the background. And if I want to make it that color but darker, I could click on that and then go to custom and make it a little bit darker of a color based on that. So you see that that's a little bit darker than this, but pretty similar. Or you can always go to add this plus button and you can create your own color. So you can click wherever you want, and based on whatever color you're going to be doing, you can make your own color. But I kind of like that, so I'm good with that. So basically you're going to be going around your entire animal and picking out shapes and tracing over them similar to what I just did. So you're only going to be really using one or two tools, and then changing, once you click on them, changing the fill color and changing the border color. So I'm going to make another video that will show you my whole process of making mine. But first, I just want you to play around with trying this out with the polyline tool and the curve tool and see which one you like better.